John,
Hello, Lee.
Stranger Things Part 4.
Part 4. We're at the end.
The end of what currently is now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be another season,
Yes.
presumably.
But we've watched 9 movies of it.
Oh God, they were long, weren't they?
They're very long.
Very, very long.
I said before we started the thing, I was like, really that long, that much? I was like, this is where Netflix blew the budget on.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say now, I kind of enjoyed all of them. Like,
Yes.
it didn't feel like 9 movies.
No. Well, this is the thing. It's like, I mean, for me, they didn't really start getting like ludicrously. I mean, I say ludicrously long. I mean, the majority of them were just over an hour long.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's like a standard thing for like most,
45 to an hour, yeah.
exactly, of like a series nowadays. But but then when it got to like the penultimate episode and then the last episode, I mean the penultimate episode was like an hour and a half or an hour and 40 or something like that.
Yeah, then the last episode was like 2.5.
2.5 hours. But it didn't really feel like 2.5 hours, did it, really? I mean, it went by, like, but I still don't know the reason as to why they were that long.
I think they're just like, fuck it. People will watch it.
People will watch it.
Did.
Yeah, they did, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, what does this mean now for series that we can get away seemingly with making feature length
9 movies, yeah.
like for a series? Exactly. It's like this is a television series at the end of the day, and one of their episodes was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Like the length of a film. Crazy. But no, hey, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Last season, well, so far anyway.
Yeah.
Caught
Caught up.
exactly. What do you think?
I loved it. Like,
Yeah.
I went into it like, again, I think I told you about this. Mr. Sunday Movies, they did a thing about Stranger Things. I don't know if you watched it.
I may have. May have not.
I think it was Meso kept on saying like, when he thinks back on Stranger Things, he thinks like, was it really that good and stuff like that. But then you watch it, like, yeah, it really was that good. And that's kind of think how I felt when we were talking about it before you watched it. Where I was like, I should have ended on 1 maybe. Yeah. And then I've watched it, and you've watched it, and I'm like, no, it's great.
it's good because it's like, I mean, I understand why people were saying that. I think when it was sort of coming out. When it originally was, because like you say, you have season, season 1, which was just great, which was just absolutely fantastic, and then you get season 2, which is still good, but it's more or less the same as season 1. It's like we're basically doing the same thing again. Season 3, where they really start to change up things, it's like a totally different vibe. It's a lot more in your face. It's a lot more louder, it's a lot more exciting, it's a lot more vibrant, both in the colour scheme and the
very 80s, yeah.
Incredible.
80s more.
They turned the 80s level up to 11.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for some people. Certainly, I think that's when some people were going, Stranger Things should have ended after like 1 season, and this is just too much of a good thing, and it's like, it's lost its place, it's totally different from what it was. It's just now this zany, really weird comedy, and I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I remember watching season 3 for the first time, and I thought, I don't agree. I think this is, for a start, I've always said I think the show had to change, it had to evolve. Yeah,
could have kept the same monster of the month.
Exactly. Like, there's nothing wrong with like returning back to the Upside Down, because that of course is the show. Yeah, basically. But they did something really different in season 3. Apparently it was just Stranger Things' take on the Body Snatchers or whatever from the 80s, which is perfectly fine
because it's a love letter to the 80s anyway.
Of course it is, exactly, and bloody hell, if you're gonna say that, then fucking season 4 is just Nightmare on Elm Street.
It had Robert Englund in it.
Literally, it did, exactly. How bigger of a nod can you get? But like with season 3, it was like, as I said when we talked about it previously, it changed it up. It made it a bit more zany, a bit more exciting, a bit more of a real like 80s adventure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with turning down the horror elements ever so slightly just to make it feel more of an adventure story. I think that's quite cool. I think that's quite refreshing and different.
Because I think it came out at the same time as it, maybe.
Well. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. It'll have had to have done, because I mean the parallels to it and the works of Stephen King are very, very apparent. Yeah. Throughout Stranger Things, not just season 3, and I think that's one, like as I said before, I think that's one of the show's biggest strengths, that it's introducing that kind of element and genre to a whole new generation of people. And like I say, I mean, people ultimately don't know what they want, because if you do more of the same thing, that'll appease people for a bit, and then they start demanding something a bit different.
Yeah.
And then when you do something different, people don't like it, because it's like, oh no, what were we thinking? What were we thinking? But no, you have to. I mean, I don't think season 3 ever lost sight of what it was. It paid attention to the world around it.
Yeah.
Introduced the whole thing with the Soviets and everything, and played with made Steve much more of an enjoyable character, with him and Dustin, who are the absolute stars of that season.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then well into introducing Robin, who's a fantastic character, and then straight into season 4, which is where we are now.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, season 4's been out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Apologies for the delay.
2-week delay.
2-week delay. So it may, the hype may have died down a little bit, but no, here we are.
No, we're still talking about it.
Still talking about it.
We'll talk about when no one else does.
Why not? That's what we're here for, Lee.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a silence, we are there to fill it. That should be our tagline. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
I think this is almost a return to the glory days of season 1, maybe.
Yeah.
And would you say this is the best season, or what's your opinion?
Thinking back, I think still 1 is kind of like its thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little yippy dog somewhere. Which has been...
Bailey wants to give his opinion.
Yeah. I think it's because he's been left alone. I'm getting some construction work done downstairs, and I think he's just been left by himself for a sec.
Yeah, for context, Lee's house is kind of like...
It's still upside down.
It's still upside down. Good lord.
Bailey, stop your crying. We're here. Bailey.
There's a stare-off going on right now.
Yeah,
folks.
there's a stare-off with a cat you're staring at. Bailey, you coming upstairs?
I think he's... I don't know, man. I think he's...
Bailey,
oh, no, here we are.
come on.
I hear some squeaking.
Hey, we're here.
It's the most entertaining part of the podcast, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
probably just going to cut this out, to be honest. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Oh, he's off.
Bills, come here. Come on, come upstairs with us. Where's John? You want to see John? Come on.
John.
Come on, big boy.
I'm only dancing.
Come on. Yeah?
Oh,
here he comes.
Here he comes.
Here he comes.
Walking down the street.
There he is.
Hello,
Yeah, this is
Bill.
definitely getting cut.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
you can see us, little boy. Come here. Come on. Oh, what we're talking about?
We were talking about season 4 and how it compares to the rest of the seasons.
Yeah.
I think season 1 is definitely still... I think season 1's always going to be up there, really, just because of what it was and how, original it was, especially for the time in which it came out. I know, Bailey.
Bailey's with us now.
Mm-hmm. But season 4 is kind of like... It's... What I liked is about season 4 is that it sort of was a callback and a return to sort of what we liked about season 1, in the sense that we didn't really know where it was going, what was going to happen, what the story was going to be.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, obviously there's that whole stuff with Hopper being trapped in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And God, the shape he got into. Bloody
Yeah.
hell. God, he's an absolute machine, that man. And he was saying, I needed to lose some weight, so it was good anyway. So the thing is, if anybody out there is wanting to lose some weight,
Just get kidnapped by the enemy.
Kidnapped by the Russians. Which I'm sure. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but just get yourself in that sticky situation, and then you'll be in shape in no time, I suppose. But no, that whole thing, and then of course there's a new villain on the scene, and I liked how the creature in this one, the sort of the antagonist in this one, was an actual character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because with you had the Demogorgon in season 1, which was just
A monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. A faceless, quite literally a faceless a threat. In season 2, it was a very vague representation of the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
And the Demodogs, and that sort of thing.
Just multiple monsters, and then season 3, Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer in physical
More
form.
character, yeah, but you'll see him. He was more voice than
Yeah.
You do see the physical form of him, but it's more.
He's more like, I mean, that presence of him is more like the actual character base of the Mind Flayer is very, you know, it's personified, of course, by oh my god, what's the brother's name?
Max's brother.
Max's brother. What's he called? Billy.
Billy. Yes.
Billy. That's it. Yeah, by Billy.
No, Billy, not Bailey.
No,
Don't worry.
sorry.
Dog just looked.
Represented by Billy.
Yeah.
In physical form. But then no, in season 4 we actually have like an actual, like, you know, like a real villain.
Yeah.
You know.
Who, spoilers, is the mastermind behind the entire lot, pretty much.
You know, that he had to have been though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like when you see when you come across a character like this, called, what was it,
Vecna, yes.
Vecna, the main villain of season 4. When you look at him, when you look at a character like this, and even before everything is revealed about him, you kind of know, oh well, this guy is gonna have to be the mastermind behind everything. Because how what else could he be?
Yeah.
How could he exist in the Upside Down?
It's okay, Bailey.
And not have anything to do with what's going on, you know, in the previous seasons. And everything, you know. I know, Bailey.
He's upset by Vecna.
He's an upsetting man. You know, he's quite an upsetting figure. But of course, let's get the spoiler out the way. You know, you've had enough time to say it, everybody.
Yeah.
But good lord. So we start off with the bit of background, with just Bailey is exiting the room.
Yeah, he's leaving.
He's off.
He knows we're here, so he can't be that alone.
So we start with the knowledge, or the background story of 11 back in the day, back when she was in Hawkins' lab, and she was in the care of Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
His character name I can never remember.
He's back and not dead.
He's not dead. Well, we don't think he's dead. We're still.
No, it's still it's the flashback in that bit.
It's the flashback in this bit, and then we see this horrific massacre where it turns out that we're led to believe that 11
went full on Elfin lead and killed her.
There you go, exactly, and went absolutely ballistic and killed.
And you get that reference because I showed you the opening of it.
You did show me the for those of you who aren't aware, at home, ladies and gentlemen, is
Elfin Lied is a very, 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 very violent anime. Came out early 2000s, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Even more violent manga never came out over here for reasons.
Yeah.
But opening shot of that is a girl called Lucy, who has. Barely, it's fine. I'm going to say invisible arms, best way to put it, is like a superpower.
Yeah.
And anyone gets in like a 2-meter radius, she fucks shit up.
Yes.
And she escapes the facility, much like the facility in
basically in
Stranger
Hawkins,
Things, in Hawkins, and massacres everyone who gets in her way.
Oh, literally everyone. It was quite something, like heads exploding and
girl gets like a head gets twisted and ripped. It's very, very violent.
It's out there. You know, it's grim. You know, and it was very similar. A similar outlook.
I have a very needy dog.
Yes, he really is.
So, context, my partner's left the house and now he's upset. So he's downstairs crying at the door, even though he knows we're in.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like dogs are the notorious enemies of podcasts, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know.
Don't work with children or animals.
Yep. But no, it was you know, and you think, oh my god. So we're gonna delve a little bit more into the background and the psyche of 11.
Yeah.
And 11 is now living as the adopted daughter, I'm presuming, of Joyce, of Winona Ryder, and is now living with Will and Jonathan.
California.
In California.
California in the 80s.
Oh,
Good
God,
times.
Amazing. And, you know, 11 obviously going by Jane, which is her actual name, I imagine. You know, she's not coping, really, is she?
No.
You know, it's a real jump from our life in Hawkins with that absolute prat of a human being, Mike, who was just as bad in this season, I have to be honest. A quick side note, it really feels like the writers do not know what to do with Mike.
That entire group, they just didn't feel like they didn't know what to do with.
They do not know what that... Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But that is by far the weakest part of this season.
Yes, definitely.
They have no idea what to do with those characters.
Yeah, they wrote too many characters like, shit, what do we do with
There's
them?
far too many characters. And and honestly, I think at this point in a show like this...
Come on. You're fine.
He comes back into the room.
God, I'm gonna have to edit so much. I'm gonna have to listen to this one again. I'm not gonna have to like just piss them off and go, yeah,
Hello,
Bailey, it's fine. We're here. You don't need to cry. Come on. You can do it. Oh, yeah, Grumpy boy.
Goodness me.
Honestly. Do you want to say hi to people on the mic?
No, he's very shy.
Yeah.
Chill
out.
But yeah.
Don't know what to do with them.
No idea what to do with them.
Yeah.
I think at this point, when a show like this is what I was saying was, it's like when you get to like season 4 of a show like this, I think it's okay at this point to let certain characters go.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels like that with I mean, there's interesting elements of these characters when you get to them, like, because they're all growing up now.
Yeah.
They're all really getting on a bit in terms of, like, you know, they're starting to get into like that they are in their teenage years, really.
Yeah. Late teens now. Well,
their teens.
Mid to late teens.
Yeah.
Whatever first year high school is, I don't know.
Oh God, I've got no idea. But it's like when you see the likes of Lucas, who I think is a really interesting arc in this season.
Yeah.
He you know, out of all of them, he's the one who makes that jump to try and like be in like the
Didn't want to be a nerd.
No, he doesn't want to be a nerd. He wants to be a bit more socially acceptable. You know, so he joins the basketball team. He becomes an athlete. He wants to, you know, try and, you know, but he wants to try and introduce like the balance, really, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Of he still wants his mates. He still wants to, you know,
Be in
play,
D&D.
be at D&D. He wants to be in basketball. He wants to, you know, but he wants that nice balance. And of course, there's no reason why he shouldn't have that balance.
Yeah.
You know, in the real world scenario, I think you can. It's perfect. I mean, look at Henry Cavill, for example.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think he's a prime example of like those people who everybody wants to be. I mean, the man he's godlike in his appearance. He's a gorgeous man.
Adonis. That's why he's Superman.
He's an Adonis. He's Superman. He seems like a really nice guy. But the dude's a massive nerd.
Oh yeah, apparently he was correcting people on the Witcher set of like, oh, this is how this should happen.
Yes.
Because he loves the books, he loves the games.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can tell because have you watched The Witcher? Or
I haven't seen it yet. No.
The voice actor for Geralt got a very, I'd say, not unique voice, but you hear him and you're like, oh shit, that's Geralt. The voice actor's I think he's just a teacher. He's got the voice acting role, so he's very big in the like video game industry of just being like Geralt's voice. And then Henry Cavill's obviously played the Witcher games. And he's like, right, I'm going to try and get this as spot on as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
He tries to sound as much like him as like he can.
Yeah.
With his own like take on it.
Yeah, and I'm sure
Does a really good job.
He does a good job. Yeah. And that's what I was getting at. It's like when he in that famous story he says when he got the call for Superman, Zack Snyder rang him to tell him that he got the part of of Superman, and but he missed the initial call because he was playing World of Warcraft.
You've got to keep your MMOs on, like yeah.
You do exactly, and he was like I was playing World of Warcraft at the time, so I missed the call.
Yeah, and just ignore the call.
I just ignored the call, like, cause I was just like, oh, it's just gonna be my agent or someone. Like, I don't want to know. This is more important. So he's playing World of Warcraft, and then he checked his phone and it said missed call from Zack Snyder. He's like, oh shit! So he rang him back. And he was like, I'm really sorry. I was, something was up. You know,
I was busy. I was yeah.
I was doing something important. And he said, oh no, it's fine. Don't worry. He said because Zack Snyder's quite a chill guy. Like quite an approachable fella. And he said anyway, you've got the part.
Yeah.
Of Superman. He was like, oh, thank God for that. And
just chastity saying, lol guys, just got Superman part.
Lol, just been cast as Superman. And then of course he built like there was that thing over lockdown that was beautiful. I mean, he was just wandering about in his home, just making pies.
Yeah.
Just cooking and showing people what he'd made and bread and stuff like that and cakes he'd made and also he built a computer.
Yeah, and he built his own computer. Yeah, I remember that. He built his own
computer, which is so great, and then just showed it a time lapse of him building it. And recently he put on a post saying like, oh, because of the heat wave, it's destroyed like my cooler and my computer, so I'm gonna have to build a new one and stuff. And I thought, this guy's just normal.
Yeah,
he's just a normal fella.
So I remember, was it Graham Norton show? He was talking about like Warhammer, and they were all like kind of subtly take the piss out of him. He was like, it's fine. It's Warhammer's what I do.
Exactly. Oh, he knows he's a nerd, but he's that's the thing I love about Henry Cavill. He seems to be quite unapologetic about the stuff that he's into and what he likes, which is great, really. And
well, it's is it Michael B. Jordan, the actor? Absolute weeb.
Really?
Yeah, he's talked about Naruto and stuff like that on on shows and stuff like that.
On podcasts and stuff like that. Oh, that's amazing. And it was mind you, I was talking about like casting stuff. It was very funny when you're watching when they were promoting The Force Awakens on Graham Norton, and of course they had the new cast on, like Carrie Fisher was on there with Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and all that. And they were saying when Daisy Ridley got cast, she said, "Oh, we were all like sworn to secrecy and stuff, and I couldn't tell anyone. I had to tell my parents. I told my parents like a month or something after I got it or something. It was announced or whatever, and I was telling people on the Facebook group and all that, and someone else was saying like, oh yeah, I did the same thing, and like it wasn't until like ages until I told my family or whatever. And then I said, what about you, John Boy? You go, oh, I told the taxi driver as soon as I got in the car." And of course, I'm just been casting Star Wars, mate. And he's just like, oh, Cratton, good for you.
To be fair, taxi drivers will be like, "What the fuck's this guy?"
Yeah, literally, yeah, who's this guy, whatever. And of course, he said my family hadn't got a clue. They don't know what Star Wars is, man. I remember my mum said, his mum said, he said, "I'm just happy you've got a job, mate."
I remember there's a video. It was John Boyega. He was doing the dishes, and there's like a phone on him. Said like, "Why are you doing the dishes?" He's like, "Because I can't talk about what I'm doing." So his parents made him do the dishes and stuff.
That's so funny.
Because he wouldn't tell them what he was doing.
Yeah, that's class.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, so the link was, of course, the theme.
We've gone to Star Wars again.
It always comes back. This has been the Star Wars podcast.
Yep, this is a Star Wars podcast.
It always... No, but of course, one of the running themes in Stranger Things Season 4, of course, I think, was like the whole thing about being yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's quite a predominant theme throughout the entire season, really. But like, it hits it home in the first episode, or at least the first couple of episodes, when you see... Lucas, wanting to, sort of fighting against who he wants to be, but what the things that he wants to do. Mike being an insufferable prick yet again. The way that he dresses, have you noticed, is also insufferable.
Yeah.
The shorts, the socks, his hair, his punchable face, just everything about him is just horrible. He's a horrible, horrible guy. And I don't know what Will sees in him.
Yeah.
Because it's very obvious that Will...
Well, what do you mean? He obviously likes 11.
Of course.
That's what people need to know.
It's ridiculous, man. It's like, of course...
Read the room.
Read the room. Read his actions when the girl's sitting next to him in the class is playing footsie with him. And he's very visibly uncomfortable by it. Because he's repulsed by women.
It's because he likes 11.
He clearly likes 11.
Yeah. God, honestly, the media literacies of people. I've seen so many people saying, "Oh, Will really obviously likes 11. That's why he's crying when he talks to Mike." And it's like, he made Mike that nice picture, and he's crying about it.
Did you not hear what he said? He's literally saying, like, "Mike, you're this, you're that. You're the one who binds us all together." It's his way of saying, "I love you, you idiot."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I can't say that to you. And
Jonathan being cool brother, just been like, "You don't talk to me about anything."
Exactly. And I will say this actually on a side note. I think they were some of the strongest moments of the season, despite the fact that.
But it was the only Will moment. It
was the only, like, I mean, look, that entire section is like when they're going around trying to find 11 or wherever. Yeah. It's the weakest part of the entire season because look, nothing happens.
Yeah. And they definitely wrote themselves in the corner like, shit, we've got these characters.
So
what do we do?
It's like nothing happens. But those bits where like Will is trying to like big Mike up and stuff, and he like sort of bears his soul, that was quite powerful.
Yeah,
and it
was good scenes.
It was a really good scenes. While which is annoying because I do think that obviously I think Mike's character has sort of ran his course. Yeah. I don't think there's much more to do with that character. I think that Will. There's something odd about Will in the sense that. I'm not sure he's a very good actor. I don't know if that's just me.
Man, he hasn't really had a chance to do.
He doesn't really do anything. This is the problem with Will. Like,
I'm guessing in the next season he's going to be some sort of like sensor for everyone. He's like, shit, I can feel it. Like, feel it.
That's all he is, really. I mean, that guy is just walking trauma.
Yeah,
All
poor
he is,
Will.
all he is just trauma, you know. And I get it, but it's like you sometimes want to stop yourself from saying, just get over it.
And now they've wrote a really emotional scene, which isn't going to do anything because
No.
Mike likes 11, and yeah, it's just more trauma added to
More
him.
trauma, exactly.
Poor
the
Will.
fact that, you know, he got kidnapped. He got kidnapped by a demon.
Yep.
Got tortured and stalked and taunted for God knows how long. Got possessed by another demon.
Had to move away from all his
Had
friends.
to move away from all of his friends, and now has to have the other added trauma of being gay in 80s America.
Yeah.
You know,
This is
it's
America.
like, you know, bloody hell,
In the
man.
80s.
In the 80s. You know, it's like, bloody hell, man. They're probably going to give him AIDS in season 5.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, poor Will.
You know, annoying as fuck though, seriously. But another interesting thing that seems to have run its course: Jonathan and Nancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
He was a big Jonathan Nancy fan.
He was.
That's fine, Bailey.
Was.
Yeah, man, you idiot.
He is. He's a
He's a sensitive soul.
sensitive boy.
Is Bailey. Yeah, you're a good boy. I know. We're here. We're not talking to you, but we're here.
No, but no, that seems to have run its course a little bit, doesn't it? By the looks of things.
Yeah.
You know, that was interesting. I don't know. I now here's the question. A friend of mine who I was talking to recently. I mean, we're talking about Stranger Things, and she asked me an interesting question, which I'm now going to pose to you. Are you pro, you know, Steve and Nancy or Jonathan and Nancy?
Don't know.
That seems to be rearing its head again.
It's like, yeah, the both of them, like, well, I say both of them have got chemistry with Nancy.
Of course.
Of obviously different things, but like, I'm pro Team Nancy can do whatever she wants.
Oh,
she can have
very
another
good.
gun and shoot someone, and I'll be happy because damn.
Good lord, I know she likes her guns, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Never been a fan of guns, but Nancy with a gun, I'm just like, whoof. Yeah.
It's quite something in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of that though, I remember because I took a couple of days before watched the final.
Yeah.
And like Nancy was trending all the time, and I was like, "Oh no, did she die?" But no,
Yeah.
she was only trending because everyone was just in love with Nancy with a gun.
It's just something else, man. You know, it does things to you. You know? But that's an interesting point, actually. I am quite surprised that no one has died yet, really.
Out of the mains,
people.
yeah.
Because okay, we'll get onto it. The lovable one-off character for this season that they bring in.
Everyone loves and
Everybody
dies.
loves him, Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie is a breath of fresh air again to this season. Like from episode 1, you know that this guy is just great.
Yeah.
You know,
He comes off at first. I was like, "Oh God!" He comes off a bit weird at first when he's in the cafeteria.
He is a bit odd.
But when he meets with the cheerleader and the thing, and they're just chatting when he's just making weed, like
He's just
when
a normal dude,
yeah,
really, isn't he?
He's just so like carefree. He's just very down to earth and
down to earth normal fella, which I think was a great character dynamic, really.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's true when you first see him, you think, oh, here we go, he's a bit of an odd one, you know, because he is literally larger than life,
Yeah.
and he's just holy shit, this guy's weird, you know, but it's that thing of like when he meets up with the whoever the girl is, like I remember her name, she dies in the first episode.
Yeah.
And the cheerleader.
Yeah.
You think that your initial thoughts are like, oh, is this sinister meet up in the woods? Is he this you know, is it going to be a bit pervy, a bit weird, you know, that sort of thing? But no, he's really like, oh, you want to buy some drugs? No problem.
She's called Chrissy.
Chrissy, that's it. You know, when he meets up with Chrissy,
Yeah.
at the beginning, you know, he's like you say, he reveals himself to just be a pretty down to earth normal fella.
Yeah.
Who, you know, just has a regular conversation with her. It's just like, oh yeah, we went to school together and we were in the same class and everything, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Do you want to buy some drugs?
Yeah.
You know, sort of thing. And then of course from then onwards, you know, it was.
Bailey's got the sads.
He's so sad.
Bailey, come here. Come on. Come chill with us. You weirdo.
Jesus.
Honestly, like, Sash leaves for like a second, he's just...
He's been interrupted so much.
You know, I thought construction was going to be the worst, but no. It's him being an absolute drama queen.
I know. He's so
Oh, 2 secs. I'm going to have a proper listen to this one.
Oh, yes.
Bailey,
Pause
come here, you
for
little
2
sad
seconds.
boy. Do you want a treat? Bales. Do you want to treat?
Dooby dooby doo.
At least I finally have evidence of him having the SADS. Like, actual. Come on. Here you go. Here, come on with us. Yeah, good boy. There's your bun.
There it is. Anyway.
Him and Chrissy.
Yes, so just gathering them, and of course, now her death
Fucking hell.
is quite something.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh wow, bloody hell, Jesus. It's, you know, and of course, you know, Eddie's reaction is quite, I say it's quite appropriate because I was like, oh wow, we really are doing something quite madness here. You know, it was, and of course, Vecna is really, I mean, when that whole thing was starting, you know, in like season 4. We're talking about season 4. Sorry, episode 2. Sorry,
Yeah.
or as people like to refer to it as volume 2. Which I'm like, okay, whatever. So in episode 2, when Nancy and this
The little guy.
the little nerdy guy who was struck straight out of 1977, he. You know that during that little investigation, it's like okay, it starts to become very obvious as the way that they're talking about. Oh, there was this other fellow, this other guy whose family who killed his entire family or something, and like he lives up in the mental asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, so not only are we doing A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is what the entire season is loosely based on, very clearly, there was also a massive element of the Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed. Which is one of my favorite stories in pop culture, actually, because you know about the whole thing about the Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
You know, it's Ronnie DeFeo, who passed away recently, actually, who killed his entire family in the middle of the night with a shotgun.
Yeah.
His mother and his father and his 2 younger siblings. Very harrowing stuff, you know. But that's the real Amityville Horror.
Yeah, that's the
real Amityville Horror. I mean, the stuff that happened afterwards with the Lutz family that moved in, and of course was the basis of the book, The Amityville Horror, I believe is a massive, massive hoax. I don't believe that stuff actually happened at all. I think it's all rubbish just to sell money, make money rather. Because if you look, I mean, for a start, if you look at a quick tangent, if you look at the stuff that the people who've lived in the actual Amityville Horror house afterwards, even the bloke who lives there now, he's like, it's fine. It's I mean,
it's a house.
It's a house. I mean, obviously the history of it's not nice.
Well,
but
the ghost might have left.
You know, it might have left, of course. You know, and you know, but he said it's fine. Like nothing's happened. I've reported no disturbances, whatever, because it's fine. You know, but even Ronnie DeFeo, like, I mean, he was meant to be possessed by the devil, which made him do it. And of course, probably not the case, you know.
Just crazy.
You know, just
crazy. It's this entire story. It was like, oh, I'm possessed, the house possessed, and like everyone was in. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's Robert Englund. He's the one who did it.
It's Robert Englund, you know, and of course, Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Which it took me a little while to realise that, oh my god, it's Freddy Krueger, which is a tremendous little nod to the themes of the entire. So because they're doing Freddy Krueger basically. The
people being in a sort of dream state, getting chased. Yeah.
Young kids, exactly, getting killed off one by one. But again, it rears its ugly head again. The theme of, I think probably of the entirety of Stranger Things, is trauma. Yeah. You know, trauma is a massive, consistent theme throughout this entire series.
Can't not be with the characters that you've got.
Well, exactly, you know, and it shows that not only in the main characters, but in the subsequent supporting characters. Like, you know, that other kid, that nerdy kid with the glasses and everything, he's, you know, because the way that Vecna kills people, obviously, is he preys on your trauma.
Yeah.
You know, and shows you all the things that you've
Guilt.
Shows you your guilt and then kills you as a result of it. You know, which is which is similar to what Freddy Krueger does, really.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing. I've got a cat next to me now.
Yeah.
Is he gonna come
Oscar's trying to find a place to get up.
Are you trying to get up here, Oscar? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, boy. No, it's alright. I'll tell you.
Madhouse in here.
It is a madhouse, but that's why we love it.
Yeah.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. Because what I noticed actually about Vecna is that you don't really know anything about him.
Yeah. We shut the door again now.
That's the perfect place to pause.
Yeah. Are you going down, Ozzy? Go on, get yourself in. Go on, move. Go on. Yes. Back now.
Yeah. And that whole thing about you don't really know much about him at all.
Yeah.
Really, for those first couple of episodes and stuff. It's not only until you, because I was starting to wonder. Like, I mean, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I was like, it's clear that they're gonna have some kind of big reveal about him, like a little bit later on. But it's like it's still not perfectly obvious who he is until much later on. And you know, for that whole thing about the twist that comes around when you're learning about, you know, Eleven's past and everything, and like this strange, you know, blonde, dainty young man. You know,
would you get what they're called, like kind of a nurse really for the place?
Yeah, he's kind of a caretaker kind of thing, isn't he? You know, and you think he's, you know, this. I thought it was initially going to go along the line of like, this is like the first person who really helped Eleven.
Yeah.
You know, and learned about like compassion and things like that. And of course, he's going to die a horrible death. But no.
There's one thing he says near the end of like the entire like thing when it's building up, just got to me. It's like it's when they take out the thing of him and he says something. I can't remember what it is now. It's like him saying it just sounds a bit different. I don't know if he's like I can't remember now. He says something. And I just thought that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
And then it starts coming together. All right, I'm gonna shut the windows. While I'm fucking kids inside, man. Can I get shit done in here?
Silence.
So yeah, like it starts all coming together, and it's just like, yeah, something's off about him. And then you get about 5 minutes later, it all comes into place, and you're like, shit.
Like, oh my god.
Like he was the kid. He was Freddy Krueger's kid.
He was the kid. Yeah, he's Freddy Krueger's kid.
Because what did they say about the kid?
Well,
did it say he went to a hospital?
He went to a hospital or something like that, and it turns out to be...
Yeah, it turns out to be number one.
He's number one, and that's what all of the powers are based on. Like, and they're trying to recreate, basically, his power set.
Yeah.
You know, because this kid's a lunatic, he just decides to torment his parents, and then kills his mother, and then just goes mental. It literally is like the Amityville Horror of the parents by being killed by their child, and of course then he turns into Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, which 11 makes. 11's the one who makes the.
He creates him. And
in that bit is the area where the cordon off and everyone goes into in the first season.
Absolutely, yes, it is absolutely, yeah. It's which I found quite incredible, and another thing that I really liked about the storytelling is it reminded me a little bit about his number one's sort of origin story.
Yeah,
it reminded me a lot of the biblical story of Lucifer, really, and how like Satan sort of came about. You know, because it's like here you have this character who is someone who's like fairly angelic looking. He's a tall, relatively good looking guy with blonde hair, a bit like Lucifer, and who is the sort of one of the angels, the cohorts of God, i.e. Matthew Modine. They're all wearing white as well, and he's all like, why should we bow down to human beings? They're vastly inferior to us. They've proven themselves to not be trustworthy. They can't follow instructions. They're greedy. They kill each other. They destroy everything they touch. They're really terrible. They're really shitty, and we should not be in service to them. I think that because we're better than them, we're angels for God's sake, and we are literally the the servants of God. And to come to think of it, God's not that much better anyway, so maybe we should be in charge, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the arc of number one anyway, because he's saying shit like,
we're powers, we're better.
We're better. He's saying like the normal incel shit of
Yeah.
of like the whole thing about like human beings that we're a curse on this thing, and like people that people live mediocre day-to-day lives, and doing all this stuff. And,
I've got a higher IQ, I'm better.
yeah, I'm better than you.
To be fair, you need a high IQ to really appreciate Rick and Morty.
Of course. So that sort of stuff, and then of course Eleven's like, no, this is how you're very clearly an evil man.
Yeah.
And of course she's the one who sends him to hell, basically.
Yeah.
And it fucks him up, and it turns him into Satan.
Yeah.
Basically, and he literally appears as, and it's of course I'm like, okay, so this is basically the story of Satan and his origin story, and then of course, what does he do when he becomes like this Vecna, this Satan
tortures
character?
people's.
He preys on people's insecurities and their guilt, and he whispers into their ear. It makes it very much like what the devil does.
Yeah.
If that is to be believed, And then and I've thought, oh, this is great. So we've got three things going on here. We've got the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Amityville Horror, and the
Bible.
And the Bible, basically, coming all together to create something quite unique in a sense. Well, I say unique. I mean, but it's good though. It's well told.
Yeah.
And it's and when that twist went on, and that double twist, it's almost double twist really, and everything links together, and I'm like, oh, holy shit! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It wasn't her that went full Lucy Elfin lead. She didn't kill anyone.
It was number
even though
one.
Even though it shows like her being violent, when she fucking clocks that girl with the ice skate.
Oh god, that's brilliant.
Fucking deserved, but
she deserved it. I mean, it's like one of those moments where you're like, oh yes, go on, like bash the shit out of her.
Because again, it's poor 11. Because like everyone probably sees Jane as just being this really slow girl because she didn't really learn to talk for like.
She didn't.
She said a few words, but she didn't really say much words until then. So she like.
No.
To everyone else in California, she's probably just this slow girl who was like, which they bully the shit out of, which was horrible. But kids are horrible.
Kids are horrible.
And they get the comeuppance back, get whacked in the face with an ice skate.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like, excuse me. That's one thing that I found. I mean, unless I missed it completely, is there a reason as to why Eleven's powers just disappear? Did I miss that? Because I found it a bit like when it was happening, I was like, why all of a sudden has she not got her powers?
It was the end of season 3 because I thought she sealed up. They sealed up the Upside Down, and I think when she sealed it, her powers went with it.
Was that what season 2 when she did that?
Fuck knows. You've watched it more recently than me.
Because I was going to say because the Upside Down really isn't featured that prominently in season 3. It's, she obviously she fights the Mind Flayer and stuff like that, and it's primarily Joyce and Hopper who seal up because of that cannon that the Soviets have made and stuff like that. Which we'll get into Joyce and Hopper in a minute.
Oh, was it that? Did that seal it and that knocked off her powers?
That's the thing. I've got no idea why that was the case. And
you watch it more recently than me. You've got more of a clue than me.
Well, you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I'll have to look that up or watch it again or something.
Okay, she got Metroided. She hasn't got her powers anymore.
Who knows? She hasn't got any powers anymore. So the whole thing of like trying to get her powers back from lovely Dr. Sam comes back.
Yeah. Who's got a nice, good scar on his face.
He has, yes. And I feel really bad for that guy, really, because you do get the sense that he's trying to do the right thing, but quite misguidedly, really. It's like, well, did you have to bring her back to Matthew Modine? I mean, who, by the way, we never explain. It's never explained how he's alive, is it? Really?
Does he dies
he gets attacked by the Demogorgon.
Yes, like it hits his, like it grabs his face. That's why he's scarred as fuck.
Yeah.
But like that's it. You think, oh, cool, he's dead, but I never really actually did show him.
Oh, did you mean when I said Dr. Sam?
Yeah, I got confused for a sec. Yeah. That's why I said but the scars across his face. Yeah.
Yes.
Because he got attacked by the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Which you think he died, but apparently not.
No, he just got a bit slashed.
Yeah, got a bit slashed in the face. Yeah.
Yes, which is interesting because the Demogorgon kills everything in sight. So why wouldn't it? I don't know. But again.
He's there.
He's there. I don't suppose it matters that much, really.
Yeah.
It's not something really to get hung up on. The point is, he's back, and he has he's such a fascinating character, isn't he? Really, because he seems to have some kind of genuine however misguided and however, off father relationship with 11, really, doesn't he?
But I think it becomes more of a thing when she's the last one left.
Yeah, so he feels a larger degree of responsibility over her. And I genuinely don't know if it's just it's for his own personal gain.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Because
he does spoilers, he actually does fucking die. Maybe.
Yeah.
And he lets her go.
He does let her go, but he seems to. But he tries to save her, really.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is like the way that he carries her and the way that he runs and shields himself in certain death. It's like, he. Because what's from stopping him from just starting from scratch? Really.
Yeah. Maybe he's just lost all his research.
Maybe he did, I suppose. But it's like I don't know. It's like because when 11's attacking him and saying like, oh. You've caused all this misery, you've caused this, and you're the reason why everyone's dead and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which in the long run, I guess, but you see him sort of start to cry, and it's like, does he feel some sort of remorse?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does he realise what he's done? Or
yeah. And it's like when he's saying to 11, like, no, you can't go and save your friends and fight. Number one, because he's batshit and he's crazy. And really super powerful and all that sort of stuff. It's like, is that prevention purely because he cares about her on some level?
Yeah.
Or is it because he doesn't want to risk her getting killed, so he's lost his research again? Because I think it's a bit of both.
But I was going to say yes. Yeah. It's just,
which is what makes him such a fascinating character. Because when he talks to her, he does talk to her quite soft-spoken.
Yeah.
But it never felt like creepy or like sinister soft spoken,
Yeah.
It came across as like, no, I think he on some level he cares.
Yeah.
In his own twisted way, he cares about 11 as if she were his own daughter.
Yeah.
And even though what he's doing is, wrong, it's such a fascinating character. And I don't know, it's an odd one, but that whole thing of like 11 gaining her powers back, I just thought, obviously, okay, great, her character has something to do, but like with a lot of these, like with that whole California section, it did feel like, let's give these characters something to do.
We'll follow. Well, the California boys follow, like, they go find Dustin's girlfriend. Which is just a thing on its own.
Like, it's... What a random section.
Yeah.
Like...
That was its own show there.
Literally, like, a house full of absolute fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
And then, we see her, she does her thing, and then we never see her again.
Yeah.
And it's, like, just amounting to, like, what, they're trying to find some coordinates.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, great, but what are we doing here? What is happening? I I did enjoy the pizza man though.
Yeah. Argyle.
Yeah, he was quite fun. Again, these characters of like Bo and Jonathan's having his doubts about him and Nancy, and he's like, oh, should I have called her? He's like, yes, you should have called her. Go and do it now. Are you mad? Like, I thought that was great. I thought all these characters like care so much about like that, like Nancy and Jonathan's relationship.
Yeah.
And even more so when you see again Steve Harrington proving that he is the best character.
Yeah.
Just being like the guy's just great. He's the perfect. It's the perfect arc of a hero, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Villain a hero.
He is, and which is why I was like, they're gonna have to kill Steve.
Oh, it's gonna be devastating.
It is gonna be devastating. And that's the point, though,
yeah.
Isn't it? It's like Steve's gonna get killed, and it's like, and I don't know when it'll be in season 5. It may not even be until like season 6 or something. God forbid.
If they keep on going.
They keep on going, but it's like he's just got the best arc. He's like, because as I said, he started off as like, quite a
douchey high school,
really reasonably unlikable character, but he had glimpses of being like, the genuine caring boyfriend and things like that, and then and then
Gets his face kicked in a bit.
And then you start to feel a bit sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, okay, maybe Steve doesn't deserve to get beat up that much.
Yeah.
You know, let's calm it down a bit. You know. And then of course, by the time season 4 comes around, he's a totally different character. You know, where he's developed this marvelous friendship with Dustin.
Yeah.
And also Robin as well, who. Robin's an interesting one in this season because I feel like she's clearly a representation of characters of I think people with things like ADHD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, who may be slightly on the autistic, you know, scale or whatever. Which is great. I mean, some people are going to find I know that some people will find that annoying.
Yeah.
Which is it happens, you know what I mean? It's like you're always going to get that with characters who don't ever shut up. You know, and you see that with the way that Nancy and her interactions with each other, you know, to begin with.
But they become close, like they become good friends.
They become really good friends by the end of it. And even that entire section when, again, another big tribute to Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, when they go.
It basically just silenced the lambs.
Yeah, I thought that.
Straight up. And even, I was like, okay, at that point I was going, right, okay.
I was like, oh god, they're going to have some guy doing his Hadoken jizz at some point.
Literally just fling some jizz at them, you know, which is I thought even the not going to do that.
Won't do that. Won't do that, Stranger Things.
No. That's Stranger Things. It's a respectable show.
Yeah.
You know, we'll show people getting their bodies dismembered, but there'll be no jizz flinging.
Yeah.
You know.
No Hadokens.
But like, you know, it was at that point I was like, there's a difference between homage.
Yeah.
And straight up.
If only Robert Englund was standing there going, "Hello, Clarice."
Yeah, literally. If he was just gonna stand there.
Yeah.
But like, no, I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit too much.
Yeah.
You know, like okay, now we're doing straight up just Silence of the Lambs, and I'm like, okay, but I mean, it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, there is a difference between homage and just straight up copying something.
Yeah.
You know, which I was like, okay, Stranger Things. You started flirting with that a bit, you know, in season 3 with the man who was literally the Terminator.
Yeah.
And that whole thing. But you know, they sort of lent into it even more in season 4, which I feel like they got away with more slightly because you don't see a lot of these people making comparisons between, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street or the Amityville Horror or, you know, anything like that. But you know, that was pretty much, you know, the gist of that. Where the story really continues and like gains traction and speed and interest is the whole thing with like we're saying there with Steve and Nancy and Robin and Dustin and
Max and everyone.
Max, that was it. Yeah, Max. And, you know, that entire section. That is where
Eddie had to die.
Oh,
he was free from murder. He couldn't really come back from. Oh, it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. It was the forces of evil.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a thing. So they made it as fucking horrible as possible.
It was, wasn't it? It was. Oh my god! It's like I mean, that always happens though. It's like the death of bloody Bob.
Yeah.
Where Bob just got devoured.
Comes out in a hero moment and
yeah, and then gets devoured by the dogs.
That was violent. Like when Steve first goes in the Upside Down, he just gets bitten.
And he's
gets a chunk bit out.
Of him.
By these bat things.
Like harpies, literally. You know, and then of course when Eddie dies via the harpies.
Yeah.
It's so sad because it's like, especially that bit where, I mean, for a start, Masters of. Is it?
I was gonna get on the music, Master of Puppets,
Master of Puppets, I mean, that whole section is just glorious, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic. It's right up my street. Stuff like that, you know. And I thought, like, that's the kind of thing that I would like.
Well, we'll get into this now because I want to talk about 3 big musical things in this. So, Master of Puppets,
of course,
that was a great, like, boss fight with Master of Puppets.
It was like a boss fight, wasn't it? Yeah, literally. I mean, have you seen the guy who plays Eddie? I can't remember his name, but he's
British, which should surprise me.
I know, and he's met up with Metallica.
Yeah,
and
they were like, "Don't fucking play our song again."
Yeah,
we'll sue you. Just like we did Napster.
No,
we ruined the music industry.
Ruined it, but we're gonna ruin it for you. But they say, "Do you want to jam with us?"
Yeah,
and then he plays with Metallica in the rehearsal room, and then at the end, because he can actually play guitar.
Yeah, which
is great. And at the end, they give him a gifted guitar that's exactly the same as the one that he plays in Stranger Things. And now on this current tour of Metallica, whenever they play Master of Puppets, when they play the song, they play clips on the screens of Eddie playing it in the Upside Down, and I'm like, I love that this is now part of pop culture.
Did they steal it though?
Well,
Metallica.
Who really
You ruined the music industry.
They're running the music industry.
This is a funny meme though. People saying like, "Oh, all the Zoomers who are getting Metallica, go and listen to Saint Anger. That's their best one."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah. It's but yeah, there was Master Poets Metallica, and of course the other one,
Run Up the Hill.
Running Up That Hill,
which according to my dad is the longest song to go from release to a number one.
Wow, because it didn't really do anything, did it, when it came out?
No, and then it's hit number one this year.
It's
since it got released.
And the thing is, when I heard it, and of course I have to be honest, because I mean, look, I've never been massively into Kate Bush, although I think I'm gonna have to be now.
There's some bangers, yeah.
She is a remarkably talented woman.
Yeah.
So talented musician, and when I listened to Running Up That Hill for the first time from this show, which I'm slightly ashamed to say, it's so contemporary. Kate Bush, I mean, it's that thing, isn't it? It's like when you do when you create a song and it doesn't do particularly well in its time. It's either it's either a sign of it's just really not very good, or it's ahead of its time.
Yeah,
and
again, I guess it's this.
And of course, here you go. It's like Running Up That Hill.
I mean, I don't think It's Me or Kathy would have worked in that scene as well.
No, exactly. Or Wuthering Heights, or anything but it works so well, and it's timed perfectly. It sounds great. And as I say, it sounds like such a contemporary song. It sounds like something that could be released today.
Yeah.
And
it looks like it has really. It's just number one.
It has. It's number one.
It's became a favourite of a lot of people.
And it's made out millions.
Yeah.
It's made us so much money.
I was going to talk about the third song, even though it's not as a big thing, but it's going to bring us some trauma for you. Dream a Little Dream of Me. As soon as I came on the thing, I was like, "Oh fuck, John's gonna hear this one."
We can't mention this because there's a chance he probably might be watching this, might be listening to this. I don't want to go into it. But
there's a fun story.
There's a fun story behind it. Shall I? I can't, can I?
Well, no. If you don't name names, it's fine.
No. Okay. I mean, there was a.
Do you see the guy though?
No, I don't.
Then it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. But it's anyway. It's. There was once a few years ago when we were in university.
Yeah.
There was this guy that we went to university with, and bless him, he was a lovely. He is a lovely guy.
I don't think I even met him.
He
I met him once.
I met him once, but honestly, he's a lovely guy. He is a really canny guy. It's but I think he had a bit.
He had a thing for you.
He had a bit of a crush on me a little bit. And it was, and he knew that I was in a band.
Yeah.
And I was the singer of the time in the band, and he was saying like, "Oh, you know how you're a professional singer?" I'm like, "I'm not a professional singer. I just get up and I sing." You know what I mean? And he was saying like, "Oh, do you want to? Would you mind like giving me like some pointers, because I'm trying to get into singing myself, and stuff like that." And I was just like, "Well, I mean, I'm not
a singing coach.
Not a singing coach, but just just be self-aware and try and listen to where you go wrong and know what notes you're meant to be singing and just go for it. Just don't think about it too much and just do it." And he went, okay, thanks, that really means a lot. And then he sent me a recording of him singing "Dream a Little Dream" of me. He said, "This is one of my favourite songs, and I just want your opinion on how I'm doing." And he sent me a full recording of him singing "Dream a Little Dream of Me," and it's one of the most haunting pieces of audio. Like
the way I think of it is like, it sounds like if he tied you up in a basement and just sang it to you.
Yes, I know. It was like a murder song.
Yeah.
It was like the soundtrack to a murder. But because the thing is, there wasn't a single note in key. He didn't sing a single note correctly. It was all out of tune. It was painful to hear, and it was just terrible. But it was quite scary at the same.
Just give me the image of you just being gagged. Right, that's just singing.
Gagged in a basement while he approaches me with a knife. dressing me up as a little girl. But like it was just so like. But the thing was, the audio of the song was like very faintly in the background.
Yeah.
And then all I heard was just him coming in and just singing that awful song.
It was just the whisper.
Oh.
Oh.
Swear I love you. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh my.
I can still hear the version in my head.
I hate that song so much. Like why? Oh god.
Oh,
Like,
it's changed the perspective of this. I mean, the song's a creepy song anyway. I've heard it used in different things of being like a creepy. Like,
well, it's never used. It's never,
never
used
used
in a other than a creepy thing. It's like it's just a really weird creepy song.
yeah. But yeah, every time I hear it, I just think of that.
Yeah, yeah, it was just. Oh,
That's why when I played in Stranger Things, I was like, oh god.
When was it in Stranger Things?
It's Robert Englund when he's talking about that. It's a song that there's a song that wakes him out with it. It's a song that snaps him out because he liked the song at the time because he didn't have someone singing to him.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that was in that bit. It was a plot point. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Not a. Yeah. But yeah, those great moments in music. That Stranger Things has always done really well.
Yeah.
You know.
Should I Stay or Should I Go was a thing as well for
in season 1.
Yeah.
Every Breath You Take at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
Which was did they play it in season? Did they play it in this season when
they
Max
played
has,
it in this season?
Max is like
because Max is like the next victim of Vecna.
Yeah.
Which of course they use running up that hill as a way to snap her out of it and get her out of it. But it's quite, you know. That was the thing. Actually, I thought they were going to kill Max.
I mean, technically
they have, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because like they busted our, like they broke our bones and stuff.
Yeah.
And then is she blind now?
Yeah, she's blind now.
Gee, and like literally, like when that happened,
Fucking brutal.
I was like, she was like, I can't see, my bones are broke. I was like, fucking hell, man! Like just that, you know.
She dies and 11 brings her back because 11's got that power now. But then,
she's basically.
But I had that certain like clip where she was actually dead, so the curse that Vecna did actually went through.
Yeah.
And then fucking rips up that dude in half.
It did, didn't it? Yeah, like him, the bully of the season. Like, he's a lunatic. Him.
I mean, yeah.
He's crazy, and of course, like the bit where he's fighting Lucas and he beats the shit out of Lucas. I'm dude, like just calm your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so I'm glad he got killed off.
Satanic panic and yeah.
Well, I suppose it was a real thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
it was a real thing about that time.
It's like Satan's coming in and corrupting our children, and you know, it's
I mean, it doesn't help that I did walk into the thing and fucking Max is halfway up the fucking air.
It didn't help, did it? It's like, well, maybe he's right. You know, like, you know?
I mean, from his perspective, they were.
The devil's here. You know?
But that's always been. I mean, it was quite cool actually that they commented on that actually. You know, because that whole thing about like Christian conservative America has never gone away, has it? Really?
Oh God, it's getting worse.
It is getting worse, isn't it? It's crazy.
Horrible. Yeah.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like you know, we went through the quick side ramble. Like we went through that lovely. Well, I say lovely. I mean, bad stuff still went on during Obama's presidency. You know, the drones.
Yeah, he did a few war crimes.
The drone strikes and what have you. But you know, it's like. But other than that, he was a lovely man.
Yeah, he ordered a lot of people dead, but yeah, he was a lovely man.
Very lovely man, exactly. That was when we were going through like the America's liberal period.
Yeah.
You know when because I was watching a video about it recently saying, it was called The Myth of Black Excellence and Barack Obama. And the point that the gentleman was making was that Barack Obama sort of created this myth in America that black people can kind of become whatever they want because...
Heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid. It's like literally, it's like, okay, a black man has become the president. He's proven the American dream to be true.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he said, you'll notice there was shifts in culture. It's like we had that period of American culture where liberalism was just becoming the mainstream. So we have things like Hamilton.
Yeah.
Where we portray like this diverse representation of the founding fathers and portraying it as a hip hop immigrant story to make it relatable, while largely ignoring the fact that the founding fathers,
not the best people,
sort of built a society that didn't do much to, slavery was still a thing.
Yeah.
you know, and some of the policies favoured more the wealthy elites than other people. It was still a bit of a broken society. You had Thomas Jefferson fighting with Alexander Hamilton versus agriculture-based economy versus a capitalist economy, which is ultimately what Hamilton foresaw. So in some ways, the man was quite ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, you know, that sort of liberal projection of stuff, you know, Beyonce and Jay-Z went from shabby chic to sort of elite. You know, and now Beyonce is now the height of, you know, the pop music and culture and stuff like that. And, you know, it was, you know, we went through that period. And now, ever since, like, the people's sort of life, when people were realizing that life really isn't still improving, people started to panic a little bit and started to, you know, when people thought that, hang on, I'm sort of being, you know, victimized for the way that I live and things like that, and this, that, and the other, and a culture war started to happen because, you know, people from the LGBTQ plus community started to become a bit more visible in the public eye and things like that, and certain people,
all them gays in them adverts,
and certain people weren't comfortable with that, and then of course, and you know, and it was, you know, and it's still something that we're going through today. Ooh, you know, where it's like, you know, where it's like, okay, so there's people here who are going like, I want my livelihood and my, like, the way that I am and my rights to be recognized in the public sector, and then other people are going, you know, but well, no, because of X, Y, and Z. Sure, that's not great, but it's like on both sides, neither side know how to talk to each other. And that's where we are at the minute. It's like you get someone, as a result, you get someone like Donald Trump elected. You get, you know, all these mad, ultra-conservative policies coming through where women are now no longer allowed to have abortions, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous.
Which is against a few religious freedoms.
And it's like, come on. It's like, right. If you are against abortion, you don't have to have one.
Yeah.
But that should not infringe on the rights of other people to have one.
It's only a Christian thing anyway. Christian Catholic.
Exactly. It's like they're based on, like, you know, like all these like Christian fundamental like things. And it's like I've heard like these people go on and saying like, oh, Joe Biden's not a real Catholic because he promotes pro-choice. And it's like, come on. It's like, you know, we're in the 21st century, for God's sake. It's like, you know, it's like, you can't make this argument of like, oh, you're killing the unborn potential of a human being. It's like, okay, but fine, sure, but you've got no problem with, you know,
as soon as they're born, fuck off, fuck you, kid.
Fuck you, kid. We're gonna send you off to war. We're gonna, if you know, we're gonna put you on death row. We're gonna, you know, have all these mad policies. That,
you're born? That's $10,000, please.
Exactly, and it's like, so really, as Reginald D. Hunter said, the question really is not, is abortion right or wrong? The question really is, when is it acceptable for human beings to start killing each other? That's the real question. And until we start acknowledging that, we'll not be able to move forward. This has been the social policy podcast. But, you know, it's just crazy. It's like, you know, why are they... And sort of tying to Stranger Things, of course. You see that with how easy it is for the kids to buy guns.
Yeah.
Yet again. It's like, holy shit. It's, of course, another subtle commentary on, you know, of gun control and stuff like that, you know, and like this mad country, like, which has just gone to the dogs all of a sudden, you know, and
it's been happening for years.
Of course, it's been happening for years.
You should see it better because internet.
Of course, you know, and of course, all these consistencies of like people going like, oh, like, the reason why we have school shootings and like all these like these mad fuckers going around like, you know, shooting up schools and things like that, and shooting up, you know, gay bars and what have you, and it's like, oh, it's all of the, I mean, they used to say, oh, it's all these corrupting influences, like, you know, like games, horror movies, like Marilyn Manson and Eminem, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean, like, and it's like, well, no, because, you know, right, for a start, a lot of people listen to that shit and play that shit. Are they all turning into murderers? No, they're not. They know how they know the difference between like what's right and wrong.
I've got a murderer's bookcase.
Well, exactly. You've got a bookcase full of death, and it's like, of course, there are these things called people with mental health issues, and also people who are just outright like just radicalized, nasty people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and then another thing as well, it's like the same, like, oh, we can't put these things in that are like glorifying like death and stuff like that. Hello. Death and destruction and murder has been a part of our entertainment
for as long as we've been alive.
And it's the American dream.
It is the American dream, of course. We go and conquer. You know?
I mean, I hate referencing it now because, like, I'm going to go for South Park made a generation of people just nihilistic.
yeah. Of course it did.
They did a few good things, but for the most part, they made a lot of people nihilistic about life, which is shit, really.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but anyway, the South Park movie, they say, like, blood goes fine as long as someone doesn't say a swear.
Well,
That's
exactly.
the American dream
That's
there.
the American dream.
You can't say cunt, but you can stab someone
to death. Exactly.
on
and,
screen.
and it's like, you see it all the time. It's like, because people fucking love it, man.
Don't show titty. Titties are wrong. Blood? Yes. Titties, no.
No, absolutely not.
Don't swear.
But it's like... But it's crazy. It's like, you know, by that logic then, should we ban Shakespeare?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, oh, we ban all these great... No, it's like when The Catcher in the Rye was, like, banned. Because it's like, you know... Because like, oh, it mentions like a young boy like swearing and things like that, and like in, you know, having like slightly unsavory like comments like towards women and stuff like that, and how he's a bit of an annoying, whiny, like spoilt brat and stuff. And I've noticed as well, there's a lot of young people, a lot of millennials who don't like that book for that same reason. And I've noticed, you know, it's like, it's this weird thing of like, you get like a lot of like young people who are like, say, the social justice warrior type. You know, they are the ones who like, they can whinge just as much as the conservative, you know, incelly white men people, you know? And it's like, well, Holden Caulfield is, you know, he's a pretty good representation of a teenage boy. They whinge, they complain, they have not nice views on people.
Yeah, I've seen the incel subreddit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, and it's like the reason why is because for one reason or another, it's like, okay, some of them might say they're oppressed. They're not oppressed. You know?
White people love to be oppressed.
We love to say that we're oppressed, but it's like, look, we're not oppressed, okay?
God, no.
We're not oppressed. And like, and this is another thing. You know, I struggle with that a lot because it's like, you know, the whole, you know, like general freedoms that we have over here for everyone. And it's like, you know, if you're right, everyone is able to put their point across on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is able to do that, regardless if you're gay, you're straight, you're white, you're black. You know, everybody is able to do that. We all have the freedom to say what we like. You know, and in that, you run the risk of other people coming at you and trolling you and having a go at you. And
it's called talk shit and get hit.
It's talk shit and get hit, and then people say like, "Oh, I'm being censored," and it's like, no. It's like this is the problem with when everyone can say everything. People think that their freedoms.
Oh yeah, the people who go on national TV to say they're being censored. Aye, sure, you've got your platform.
It's like you're not being censored. It's like you're not really being censored. Everyone is being That's the problem. When you give everybody a platform, everybody feels like the platform's been taken away from them. And, you know, this is an ongoing problem where this is why society will never get sorted out, because everybody needs to be listened to, you know? And it's like, if we are going to live in harmony, everybody needs to be listened to, and everybody has to, like, be, like, just have their time to be, like, actually listened to and have the problems sorted out. The Nazis had their time.
They had their time. They can fuck off now.
The Nazis had their time. They burned brightly, and then they you know, and then they
shine bright like a diamond.
Brightly, and then they got snuffed out. You know,
well,
you know, it's like ish. I mean, but well, you know, it's crazy, you know, and.
John's trying to be as centre as possible. I'm just like, fuck everything.
I know, literally.
I'm just unapologetic.
Because that's the thing with me. I'm quite centrist, you know.
And I'm unapologetically left.
Yes, I know. And that's what I love about you, Lee. But it's like, you know, no. I just try. The thing is with me, I just try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Do you know what I mean? In some ways, because don't get me wrong, there are people who like just like, all right, sit the fuck down. Do you know what I mean? But I do think there isn't one side that's perfect.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
everyone's fucked up. Somehow.
Everyone is fucked up somehow.
I've just been on the internet too long, and I don't know when people are just being assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've been through forums I've went through when forums were a thing, fucking chat boards.
Yeah.
I've seen horrible people.
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere, man, and it's which is why I probably shouldn't have joined Twitter. You know,
you're on the worst bit.
That's the worst bit, and but no, the point to drive back to Stranger Things. I haven't even talked about Joyce and Hopper yet.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Russia.
You know, but yeah, it's like that mad stuff. Like the parents and the Christian conservatives and all these people, they want to blame everybody but themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, why do you think?
Are we the baddies?
Yeah, are we the baddies? But it's like, why don't you try and listen to your child for once? It's like if they're angry about something, why don't you just listen to them rather than saying my son listened to Marilyn Manson and that's why he's evil? Let's ban musicians. Let's ban musicians from like listening to like portraying their art or whatever. Let's stop video games from being made. Let's ban all this like classic literature that talks about the human condition. Because
when you talk about banning video games, it just reminds me of Jack Thompson. There was a lawyer who's been disbarred now because he was a prick. He was early 2000s vehement about getting rid of video games. He sued Grand Theft Auto. He sued Rockstar a few times.
To accomplish what? You know what I mean?
Well, obviously.
Well, exactly. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, you know, well, why do you think your son's having this problem? So why don't you talk to him? Why don't you find out why he's angry? And then once you've found the root cause, solve it. You know, it's like bloody hell. It's not enough to say that like, oh, you know, it's not enough to point the finger anymore and say no, you're not this anymore. You have to talk to the people.
This has been the political part of the podcast.
This has been the political podcast, you know. Anyway,
Russia.
Anyway, Russia. Yes, it's very topical at the minute, isn't it?
Stranger Things, Russia.
Yes.
I loved that. The security guard guy, the guy who goes with him.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
I was upset that he went back to Russia. I think because they didn't show up in the end.
No, they didn't. It's like, oh, he's just gone now.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah.
I really liked him. I thought he was going to stay in America and be like, I am American now.
I love America. I love capitalism. You know stuff. But it's like, you know, it's crazy, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, have these great characters who come into it, and I don't know, will we see him in season 5? Who knows?
No.
But that section was, while it was another section of the show that seemed very farly removed from the main plot.
Yeah.
It felt like a side mission.
Because I felt like, how is this going to be relevant until near the end? When they kind of just guessed.
It wasn't really.
They were like, what if we attack that? It might help them.
Yeah, it felt like another show.
Yeah.
Really. You know, it was just like, I mean, it still didn't tie up to it. They didn't know anything about...
They just guessed.
They just guessed. They were saying like, okay, well, the kids must be in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, because...
How did they find out the kids were in trouble?
I have no idea.
I can't remember now.
I honestly can't remember.
Oh, no, they contacted... They tried to contact Sam, the guy, and they were like, oh, the kids are not there.
Oh,
they must have went to something like that.
Sure.
They found out through a phone call. Then they were like, let's just hurt this thing. It'll hurt the upside
They're a
down.
hive mind.
Yeah.
So if we attack the Demogorgon, which fantastic, when Hop actually like faces up against the Demogorgon, and it's like, you know, and I love that how throughout the entire thing. I mean, another thing I read somewhere that apparently like the prison scenes were like filmed, apparently in a former Nazi like concentration camp.
Oh, really?
I read somewhere that was true, and the fans weren't happy about it or something like that. And I was like, well,
the only thing I know that fans weren't happy about, which is fair, apparently they're working on the effects till the 11th hour.
Yeah, that's. I mean, well,
poor effects artists.
The effects artists are getting it really rough at the minute.
Yeah. They need unionise, guys.
They do.
This is my left podcast. Unionise.
Unionise. Well, they do really. I mean, you know,
because they're getting shafted by Marvel.
Yeah.
That's why you haven't seen Ms. Marvel yet, have you?
I've not seen. I mean, I've seen Love and Thunder recently, which was shite.
I still haven't seen it yet. Anyway, Ms. Marvel. First couple episodes, they had this really unique. Well, I say unique. Something unique for Marvel, where like the edits had like little animations about when she's thinking about stuff. Like they had these really cool things, and then they kind of drop it. But I know the story gets a bit more serious, and I understand why they drop it. But at the same time, did they drop because they didn't have the effects? Because they were trying to push people too far. Well,
probably.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You know, it certainly feels that way, because it's like, holy shit, man. I mean, like, if you've seen like Love and Thunder, for example, like, I mean, there's a shot in it which I am amazed that it made it into the final cut. Terrible, actually terrible. And I'm like, what happened? What happened to this studio? You know, what happened to the days of Iron Man 1?
Apparently they were just pushing so much at VFX, because I know there was a bit for like, I think it was like Vanity Fair, something like that. It was a bit where Taika Waititi was like, they were showing like bits of Corgan. They were taking the piss like of the effects, and the effects artist was like, well, then you just pay your fucking effects people better than they would have done it,
Yeah.
or given them the better time.
Yeah.
Because they probably just had a deadline, they just rushed it.
Of course they did. Of course they did, and that's that's what it feels like half the time. But anyway, it was like, I believe that. I mean, like for like a lot of it, you kind of believe it as like it being like decent VFX, especially for like a Netflix show.
Yeah.
You know, understand? I mean, well, apparently, like, well, Netflix has unlimited money.
Yeah.
You know, but
well, unlimited money for the stuff they like.
Yeah, that's true.
Couple of things you don't like. Fuck yous, we're gonna cancel.
Yeah.
Animation, fuck you.
But it was like, you know, I mean, that was decent. I mean, like a lot of it was just like the extended like Hopper, you know, coming to terms with you know, what his purpose is as a human being, and he's having his whole existential crisis while he was in prison. I mean, it's almost ran the risk of being an irrelevant bit of the show, but it sort of saved itself from being really quite compelling.
Yeah.
Because when Murray and Murray's great.
Murray's fantastic.
Murray is just fantastic, and like when he holds his own against the Russians, I'm like, no, he can actually fight. He's like this guy may be mental,
yeah,
but he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? And just when he gets unleashed with a flamethrower, it's just glorious, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't killed him off yet.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, are they gonna get to like killing off him and Steve in the next season?
What are they gonna do? Are they gonna the next season? They're gonna do it. Well, they have to do it straight away, unless it's gonna be a couple of years and there's just a fucking fault line in Hawkins. They'll have to go like straight off.
They'll have to. It's like, but yeah, no, I love that. It wasn't, and of course, you know that like Joyce and Hopper are gonna get together, and of course they finally did, you know, because she came to save him, which was just wonderful, and you know that final like fight at the end where they're fighting off the Demogorgon with the fire and everything like that. I thought, oh, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I like watching stuff like that where evil gets it to come up and where people like actually like legitimately fight back against it. It was just great. And when she finally reunites, I mean, when Eleven and Hopper finally reunite, it's a lovely scene. Bloody Will yet again, you know, getting that tension on the back of his neck. I'm like, oh, just piss off. Like, I'm sick of. I know, poor Will, but bloody hell, there's only so many times I can say that.
Yeah.
You know,
Vecna just fucked off.
Yeah, exactly. There's another thing actually. Speaking about the whole Vecna thing, Jamie actually brought this to my attention. Did you notice something about when Vecna originally goes to the Upside Down, and obviously it's all red and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when you see him again, when he first makes it to the Upside Down, a couple of episodes later, it's yellow.
Huh.
Yeah, it's all like color corrected to being yellow, and nobody knows why. And the running theme, like theory, apparently is that like when that's what it originally looked like, but then when Vecna like sort of started corrupting it, it started to look the way that it does now. You know, which is what I found quite interesting. You know, it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
But no, it was and Vecna's not dead, is he?
No.
But
he got injured, then he fucked off.
I
just saw this Hulk thing running away like, eh.
It's like, yeah, so burn me to death, but I'm already burnt, so you can't burn me anymore. But it was
Then he obviously escaped because shit goes down.
Shit does go down, like the whole place like fucking explodes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, right. Oh. So did they lose?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. You know,
They lost because Max actually died for a second, and that kind of...
She did die for a second, but...
And that's what did it.
It did. But now she's in a coma.
Yeah, and blind.
Blind. And
potentially.
Fucked, and I'm like, God, it's quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't kill her. Really.
Leaving her blind and completely crippled is kind of harsh.
But you know what's going to happen, though, don't you? She's going to become that character where she sort of overcomes her blindness and becomes a...
I'm sort of fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but it's like, you know, who are we gonna kill? Because we haven't killed anyone important yet, really. I mean, obviously, like it was lovely when Eddie went. I didn't run away.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh, Eddie, you know, do I have to kill you off that way?
Yeah, it's gonna. You know what the next season's gonna be? It's gonna have a subplot of maybe Steve, maybe Jonathan, and they kill off Steve, and that's...
They're gonna kill off Steve. They're going to kill off Steve. Max is going to come to terms with their blindness. Mike is going to become even more insufferable, or he's not.
It's going to be terrible. Like, I hate and love when things kill off characters that I loved. Like,
Yeah.
because it's a bold move and I respect the fuck out of it.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, I hate it because I like the character.
I know, and that's why you care. That's why you care about these characters when you kill them off.
That's why I kind of grew towards like anime and stuff for stuff like this.
Mm.
There's been a couple of things I've watched where they've killed the main character, and I'm like, what?
What have you done?
Like, really?
Yeah.
You doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly, and it's like, you know, they'll. I mean, I can't think of anyone else who would. I mean, they're due to kill off like Steve. Like
yeah, Steve seems to be the most plausible one.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate it, but yeah.
I know, and because they're not going to kill off Jonathan. Like Jonathan sort of like lost his impact, I think, a little bit in this season as well, a little bit. Although, I mean, having said this, I did ultimately really enjoy this season. I did think. I mean, I think its biggest weakness was out of all of the seasons, this one felt the most disjointed. Because it felt like there was so much stuff going on.
And there were different parts of the world, so it didn't really like...
Yeah, there was no real connection between, like, most of them.
Yeah.
You know, like, the whole stuff with, like, Mike and Will and Jonathan, like, going around California was, like, completely pointless.
The only thing it did is give Will a bit more character.
A bit more of a base, exactly, to explore his closet of homosexuality. Bloody, like, the whole stuff with 11, like, sort of, like, trying to, like, gain her powers back, I was like, okay.
That's just the anime train arc, happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, it happens all the time.
Dragon Ball Z, going in there.
Exactly, but it served the purpose of, like, explaining, like, the origin of Vecna, which I thought was expertly done.
Really good done.
He's really creepy as well, the guy
who
plays
yeah.
him.
Which I like that the fact that the guy who plays him, like the blonde guy tall, is the guy who's in the costume as well.
Yeah, exactly, which is great. Which they don't often sometimes do that, you know.
Yeah.
But no, but the strength of the series really was where like the story really was with like this whole thing about you know, dealing with ongoing trauma, which is what all these characters are doing. And I think it deals with it really, really well because it's like, I mean, you gotta think though, when you've been in a place like Hawkins for so long, knowing that there is an alternate dimension filled with evil,
it's gonna fuck you up.
It's gonna fuck you up, exactly, and that's kind of what, like,
especially if you can't really tell anyone, because who the fuck's gonna believe you?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and when you think about it, all the characters are a bit fucked up.
Oh yeah,
like Will is just,
Will's a poster child of being fucked up in this season.
Will's fucked up for life.
Yeah,
he is never going to be well
He's
again.
never going to recover.
No, he's never ever going to recover. In fact, I would not be surprised if he takes his own life at some point.
That'd be the dark. Yeah.
Dark, but yeah, it could happen. Mike has just become an arsehole. A total insufferable prick. Dustin is the only one keeping it together.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's like really like trying to hold everybody together, and like, because Will's talking absolute rubbish when he says like, "You're the one who holds us together." I'm like, no, he's not. He's the one who's.
He's biased. He likes Mike.
I know he's biased. He likes Mike, but it's like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, Dustin's the one holding it together.
Dustin's the one holding it together, and you know, but they're all traumatized, man.
You know, I didn't know. It's going off tangent, but Robin, Maya Hawke. Her mum's Uma Thurman, and her dad's Ethan Hawke.
Wow, wow, that I did not know.
I knew Uma Thurman like from like a couple of years ago, but like Ethan, just they mentioned Ethan Hawke and it's something I saw, and I was like, it makes sense.
When did she marry Ethan Hawke?
They must have been married at one point. At least that kid.
When did that happen? Okay, good.
It was probably one of them old Hollywood romances that got divorced in like 2 seconds.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Not a kid.
Wow.
Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Wow. Now that you mention it, I can see it a lot actually. But bloody hell, that's mad. I tell you one thing that, speaking of which, I tell you what, we were talking about Eddie before. There's a wonderful video of again. A little similar to the one that he did with Metallica. But Eddie has, like, the love for Eddie is remarkable.
Yeah.
Have you noticed among the fan base? Like, they all fucking love Eddie. And, like, of course, I see Hellfire Club t-shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is annoying as fuck.
It's the one person to have the character who dies in the season is always loved.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy who plays Eddie, I can't remember his name, but he's at some kind of like comic convention, and he's the guest speaker, and he's getting like, he's taking like Q&A from the audience and stuff like that. And there's a video of this one woman who stands up and she goes, "I don't really have a question. I just want to thank you like so much for coming here today and making our day, because myself and a lot of people here have been waiting a really long time to see you, and you took the time to speak to every one of us. And I know that you weren't treated particularly well last night. I don't know what she was referring to.
Yeah.
But she said that you weren't particularly treated well last. I know that you weren't really treated very well like yesterday, and I know that you probably don't want to go into that. But I just want to let you know that you are loved, you are appreciated, and like Eddie connected with all of us on so many levels, like because he is the outsider, and a lot of us sometimes feel like the outsider as well. And we love you, and we want you to know that you are loved, and you know it's great. And he was in tears.
Yeah.
And he was just sat there, and he was just like biting his lip and stuff like that, because he could see that this lad, this is probably his first real like proper major role in something.
Let's check good old IMDb while we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. And he could see he was profoundly affected by that woman's comments, and he was just in tears. You know, and it's like, it's stuff like that you know, that I watched that video and I was reminded, and it's like, oftentimes when we're on things like this, or whenever I talk about stuff, or whenever we talk about whatever, and there can often be a cynicism, really, you know, towards most things that we talk about in terms of like films, culture, you know, art and things like that. And I'm very guilty of this myself, even though I've only ever just been honest and given my honest opinion on things. And sometimes I'm worried that might come across as like, you know, the cynical attitudes that I often myself criticize. I'm guilty of doing that myself. And you watch these things like this where, because you know, Stranger Things isn't perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's most things aren't perfect, and they often get the shit ripped out of them because of it, because people expect perfection and stuff like that. But you know, it's just, writing's hard and making movies is hard. But
damn right.
You know, we know that firsthand. But when you see videos like this, where you see how much these things mean to people, you know, and how much the artists themselves get to hear that, and they get to understand how much they've meant to people and stuff like that, because it must be quite a profound thing, you know. And I think that's those kind of videos and like moments should be cherished, and you know, everyone should see that video, because it's like a little reminder of like how art and like entertainment can really make people's days and lives and stuff like that, and it means so much to people. And I thought it was, this is just a long way of saying I thought it was lovely, and we need to be reminded of stuff like that a lot more.
Joseph Quinn he's called, by the way.
Joseph Quinn.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything big.
Anything of note.
Yeah, until this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is his first major thing.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So you can see how much it meant to him. Like, he was in tears, and he didn't know how to react. And then at the end, everyone was giving like an applause and stuff like that. And then he said, "Oh, why'd you do that to me?" and stuff. But he said, "No, thank you." He said, "That's so kind." And he said, "And I have loved speaking to all of you, and I will, you know." And I just thought that's great, you know. And on that note, I thought this was one of the better seasons.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. I thought this was one of the better seasons. I think its biggest drawback was it felt quite disjointed at some points.
Yeah, they've brought too many characters that don't know what to do with them.
Too many
That's
characters.
Obvious.
They don't know what to do with them. They need to cull the cast a little bit. We need to start to get rid of some characters and streamlining it a bit more. But ultimately, though, I thought it was one of the stronger ones, one of the stronger seasons, probably the second strongest season, I would say. Another fantastic tribute to 80s horror, you know, and just classic horror homages from the past. It didn't feel ever too long, like I know some of the episodes did. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to season 5.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see what happens, and God knows when it'll come out. Do you know Millie Bobby Brown is the highest paid actress of her age?
She's 18 years old,
Yeah.
and she's getting like millions or something like that, which is crazy.
I want to see her in something different because she's a really good actress, but like
She's
this season she just kind of just cried.
Yeah,
she's good at crying.
She's very good at crying.
She's good at crying, but that's all she did. I want to see more of her. Like I want to see more of something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think she's a really good actress, but like all she's had this season is kind of just cry.
And trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma. Yeah. But no, she's in Enola Holmes.
Oh that? Yes. I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
I've seen Enola Holmes. It's decent. Not bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. But she's great in that. But no, on to season 5. Until that comes out, that's been my journey of Stranger Things.
Yeah, finally got through it.
I got through a lot of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah,
at least you caught up for all the references you're going to see everywhere for season 4.
I know, absolutely. But you've tasked me for next time to see another series.
We're on the Netflix train still.
It is. It's still going strong.
Which I'm surprised you'd never watched.
No.
This is why I wanted it. It's The Umbrella Academy.
I've Umbrella Academy, which is going to be the next thing I'm going to be watching. I've never seen it. I've heard great things about it.
It's going to be very weird seeing Elliot Page as not Elliot Page.
Not Elliot Page.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's not Elliot Page. Yeah. But I think the director actually went back in the credits and credited him as Elliot. You'll have to tell me.
I'll find out.
Yeah, because you'll see the credits pop up. Yeah.
Well, I'll see. But
I really enjoy the Umbrella Academy. I think.
Well, yeah.
I hope you do like it too.
I think. Apparently I will, because I'm really looking forward to it, because I love Gerard Way's comic book writing.
Yeah.
This is based. I haven't read Umbrella Academy, but I've read his Doom Patrol run.
Yeah.
And I think he can tell he's loving it, and this is one of his original creations, Umbrella Academy, and I'm really looking forward to watching it.
And for an entire year after the film came out, you could not find the volume anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. It's well, Jamie's watched it, and Jamie said that he's really surprised that I haven't watched it, and he thinks that I'm gonna really enjoy it, because he thinks like it's right up my alley.
Yeah, I think you're gonna enjoy it.
We'll
find out next time.
I'll find it next time. Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Let's go for that. Stranger Things 4. Done.